Do you want a trip to the Caribbean? If so, Mommy and I are going, and you're staying behind, got it? If not, we're getting a divorce. Andrew used the threat of divorce to take the Caribbean trip from me. His mom looked at me with a smug expression, clearly enjoying the moment. I couldn't just let this go. I was planning my revenge on this mother-son duo. My name is Leland. I'm 32 years old, and I'm just an ordinary working mom at a company. Andrew and I have been married for 2 years. I met him through a mutual acquaintance, and he was 2 years older than me. I never really liked dating during college, and I only had a few relationships after I started working, none of which led to marriage. When I turned 30, my parents got worried and started looking for potential matches for me. Andrew seemed calm and caring, and since I value my family, I was drawn to how he cared for his parents. I thought maybe we could make it work, so I decided to marry him. Everything went smoothly, and we became husband and wife. It was a happy time. About 6 months into our marriage, I got a lot of calls from Andrew. I quickly called him back, and with a tired voice, he told me, "Please stay calm. Something happened to my dad. He collapsed at home and was taken to the hospital." I couldn't believe it. I never expected to hear about my father-in-law's death so suddenly. He was so healthy. Everyone was shocked. Afterward, Andrew became very focused on caring for his mother. He would visit her every day, sometimes having dinner or going shopping with her. Once, he even took special leave to go on a trip with her. It wasn't that he neglected me, but whenever our plans conflicted, he always chose her. "Sorry, Leland. Mom just called and wants me to come over, but we were going to see a movie today. She really wants to go shopping," he would say. I was upset. "We had planned this a week ago. Can't you go to the movie alone?" he asked. I reluctantly agreed, but inside, I was angry. Why was I being blamed? Isn't Matilda the one being demanding? Even though Andrew was always putting his mom first, I thought maybe this was just how marriage was. My way of coping was solving crossword puzzles. They were a good distraction, and sometimes I even won gift cards or food prizes when Andrew would ditch me for his mom. One day, I won a pair of tickets to the Caribbean. It was the biggest prize I'd ever won, and I double-checked my win several times out of excitement. The tickets required me to specify who would be traveling before contacting the airline. The first person who came to mind was Andrew, but I wasn't sure. Andrew often traveled with his mom, Matilda, and if I suggested going together, I had a feeling she might want to come along. After thinking it over, I decided to give the trip to my parents. On my way home, I stopped by their house to tell them the good news. "Mom, guess what? I won tickets to the Caribbean." "Oh my, that's amazing. You're going with Andrew, right? Have fun," she said. "Not exactly. I thought I'd give the tickets to you and Dad." "Are you sure?" she asked. "Absolutely. Andrew travels enough. I want you two to enjoy it," I replied. "Thank you, Leland. We'll definitely take you up on that." Mom grinned with excitement, but Dad didn't seem as excited. He looked troubled. "Well, I've got work. Can't you take some time off?" he asked. "This time of year is really busy for our company. It's not a great time for me to be away," he said. "Oh, that's too bad," I replied. Then Dad suggested, "Why not go with Olivia? It was originally your prize, right? Go enjoy some quality time with her." Mom chimed in, "That sounds wonderful." I felt thrilled and excited about the idea. The next day, I applied for time off from work, and it was quickly approved. I contacted the airline to let them know that my parents would be using the tickets instead. On my way home from work, I stopped by a bookstore and bought a guidebook for the Caribbean. It had been a long time since Mom and I went on a trip together, and I was honestly really happy about it. But when I got home, something unexpected was waiting for me. When I got home, I noticed the lights were on, so I naturally thought Andrew was home, but instead of his shoes by the door, there were a familiar pair of women's shoes. As I wondered what was going on, the living room door opened, and there stood Matilda. "Lillian, what time do you think it is?" she said. "Oh, Matilda, I didn't realize you were here," I replied. "It's not just about being here, it's about coming home this late. What have you been doing? Andrew will be back any minute now," she scolded. "I'm sorry, I'll get dinner ready right away," I said. "It's not just that," she snapped. "Making the bed is basic common sense for a daughter-in-law. Do you even take your role seriously?" "I'm sorry things have gotten this way," I said, trying to calm the situation. "You should be more dedicated to your home since you're still working." Matilda huffed and walked back to the living room. Since she lived nearby and Andrew had given her a key, she often showed up without notice. She clearly had outdated beliefs about what a daughter-in-law's role should be, and she didn't approve of me working full-time. She would constantly criticize me, making it hard to get along with her. As I started putting my things down and preparing dinner, Matilda suddenly shrieked, "Wait, what's this? Leland, are you planning to go to the Caribbean?" She had gone through my bag and found the new guidebook I had bought. "Matilda, why are you going through my things?" I asked, frustrated. "That's not the point. What's this about going to the Caribbean?" she demanded. "I won the trip in a sweepstakes. I was planning to give it to Mom," I explained. "I haven't heard anything about this. Why would I need to know?" she retorted. Before I could respond, Andrew walked in. Matilda immediately rushed to him and pointed at me, accusing me. "Andrew, listen to this. Leland's been so inconsiderate," she said. "What happened, Mom? Did Leland do something?" Andrew asked, confused. "You believe she would win a Caribbean trip and plan to give it to Olivia without even consulting me?" Matilda said, looking shocked. "What Caribbean trip? This is news to me too," Andrew added, glaring at me. "What's going on?" "It's simple. I won the trip and wanted to give it to my parents, but since Dad can't go, I thought you could go with Olivia," I explained. "So, you're going with Olivia instead of me?" he asked, sounding frustrated. "Yeah, what's the big deal? You always travel with Matilda," I said. "It's not the same. Mom and I only go on domestic trips. We haven't been abroad in years," Andrew said. "How can you decide this without asking me? It's my prize." "Why should I ask you? I won the trip," I replied. Andrew slammed the table, cutting me off. "You're getting too bold for a daughter-in-law. Me and Mommy are going. You'll stay home." I couldn't hide my disgust at how he referred to her as Mommy. "Hold on, this trip is for me, not you. If you're not happy, let's just get a divorce," Andrew said. Divorce? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He was threatening divorce over something like this. I was furious. "I won this trip fair and square. I've already decided to give it to my mom. Just pick up on the vibes for once. Mommy wants to go. Where does it end with you always prioritizing Matilda? You never think about how I feel," I shot back. "I don't care how you feel. This trip is for me and Mommy. Stay home and be good," Andrew said coldly. I felt my feelings for him rapidly fading. It was clear that I was less important to him than Matilda. I couldn't keep dealing with this ridiculous mother-son duo. I calmly said to Andrew, "Fine, do as you wish and enjoy your trip." "You should have listened from the start," he snapped. "Suit yourself, always talking back." The kind Andrew I knew was gone, and in his place was someone I didn't recognize. Meanwhile, Matilda stood there, smirking triumphantly. I decided that I couldn't stay in this house while they went on their trip. I resolved to let Andrew and Matilda go on the trip together. The next day, I contacted the airline to let them know about the change in travelers, Andrew and his mother. However, when I contacted the airline, the operator replied in a concerned tone, "I'm sorry, but we cannot change the registered participants once they've been confirmed." "Is that so?" I asked. "Yes, furthermore, this airline ticket requires the actual winner to travel with the person. If your husband and mother-in-law are going, the ticket will be invalid," the operator explained. "So if I don't go, the ticket has no value?" I asked. "That's correct. Please review the documents we sent you for this specific condition," the operator replied. When I looked at the documents I had received, it clearly stated that only the winner could use the ticket, and it couldn't be transferred. I explained the situation to the operator and decided to decline the trip. I didn't want to tell Andrew or Matilda, so I planned to let them travel at their own expense. That night, when I got home from work, I casually mentioned the trip to Andrew. "Andrew, about the Caribbean trip," I said. "Yeah, you contacted the airline, right? Saying that Mommy and I will go?" he replied. "I did call. Here are the winning documents and the tickets. I just need the tickets," I said. Andrew barely glanced at the documents. "I won't read the documents. There are detailed instructions in those documents. Considering it's an international trip, I think it would be wise to read them," I advised. "We don't need to. Mommy and I know what we're doing. We're efficient. Unlike you," he said. "Fine, whatever. I'll leave them here just in case," I said, knowing he wouldn't bother reading them. As expected, Andrew didn't look at the documents and went on with his day. When the day of the trip arrived, I confirmed that Andrew had left, packed my bags, and headed to my parents' house. While I was unpacking, I got the call from Andrew that I had been expecting. As soon as I picked up, he started shouting, "Hey, what's the meaning of this? They said this ticket can't be used." That's right. If the winner doesn't go, the ticket is invalid, I explained. What? Why didn't you tell me something so important earlier? He yelled. I did tell you, remember? I even suggested you read the instructions, I replied calmly. You mean it was written in those documents you gave me? He asked, realizing his mistake. Exactly, it's your fault for not reading them, I said. This is absurd, so how are we supposed to get to the Caribbean? Andrew asked, sounding panicked. The operator did mention that if the winner doesn't go, you'd have to pay the full price for the tickets, I said. Clearly not expecting this, Andrew sounded even more stressed. I could hear Matilda's voice in the background, both of them in distress. Andrew, what did Lillian say? Matilda asked. Mommy, if Lillian doesn't have to pay for the trip, Andrew muttered. Andrew kept calling me after I hung up, but I didn't want to deal with it. A few minutes later, he called again. Hello, what is it now? I'm busy, I said coldly. It's not what you think. I tried to buy the tickets, but the credit card isn't working, he said. I don't know anything about your card, I replied. It's not mine, it's your card, he said. Wait, are you saying you used my card without my permission? I asked, shocked. You need to fix it now, he demanded. When I checked my wallet this morning, I realized my card was missing. I had a feeling it was him, so I immediately froze the card. I knew he'd taken it. You stole it, didn't you? I said, furious. I was planning to shop with that card abroad. You always mess things up, you jerk. He showed no remorse. He didn't care about the trip or stealing my card. All he cared about was himself. Are you kidding me? He shouted. I was going to use it for shopping. I couldn't take it anymore. Who are you calling a jerk? After mocking others all the time, you should just go to hell, I snapped. You're so obsessed with your mommy. If you love her so much, why don't you two just stay together? He was furious. What are you talking about? Who do you think you're talking to? Stop disrespecting me like that. Honestly, it's creepy how you always call for mommy. You're just a mama's boy, I said. There's no value in us being married. Calm down, he said, but I wasn't having it. If you keep this up, we'll divorce. Fine by me. I was thinking the same thing. I've left the house, and I don't plan on coming back. Enjoy your trip with your beloved mommy. Hope you both drown in the Caribbean, I shouted before hanging up. Damn mama's boy. In a rage, I blocked both Andrew and his mother. Afterward, I went to a law firm that my father recommended and started the divorce process. While checking our savings for the asset division, I found that our joint account had been emptied. There were several withdrawals, all lining up with the time when Andrew went on his trip with his mother. It was clear he had used our savings for the trip. On top of that, he'd used my credit card without permission. I demanded compensation for what he had done. He ended up in debt and got chased by creditors. Meanwhile, his relationship with his mother began to sour. They argued every time they saw each other. It was ironic, considering how close they used to be. As for me, I decided to stay with my parents for a while. I wanted to make up for the time I had spent worrying them. I decided to live with them and take care of them. Honestly, I was done with marriage. What truly mattered to me now was a caring family. The whole divorce experience made me realize that.